Will the guests please be seated? Ship's company, parade, red. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce the official party and distinguished guests. Rear Admiral Theodore C. Lockhart, United States Navy, Director, Surface Combat Systems Division, Office of the Chief of Naval Operations. Mrs. Elizabeth B. O'Neill, the ship's sponsor for Guardian. Mrs. Elizabeth Anderer, Guardian's Matron of Honor. Mr. William H. Flaherty, Chairman of the Guardian Commissioning Committee. Captain George L. Street III, United States Navy retired, recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Very well. Proceed with the ceremony.
Aye, aye, sir. Chaplain Fauntleroy will deliver the invocation. Will all the guests please rise?
Let us pray together. And the angel of the Lord appeared to Gideon and said unto him, The Lord is with you, you valiant warrior. Go in the strength now upholding you, and deliver Israel from the hand of Midian. For it is I, the Lord your God, who sends you. Our God, who guides, protects, and upholds every generation. We seek the warmth of your presence and pray your blessings upon this gathering as we commission this ship and present her to our nation. Just as you upheld and prepared Gideon in the days before, sending him forth into alien lands for the cause of justice and freedom, you, O Lord, have prepared this ship by upholding the skillful hands that have given her shape and the creative minds that have given her resolve. Grant unto this crew, who will give her life, the valiant heart of Gideon, who, inspired by your divine confidence, advanced as a forerunner of freedom despite any odds. Be with us this morning as this new forerunner of freedom comes alive, for it is in your most holy name that we pray. Amen.
Will the guests please be seated? Commander Neil Collins, Supervisor of Shipbuilding, Conversion, and Repair, Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, will make the opening remarks.
Admiral Hines, Commodore Bernelli, Congressman Makeley, Mrs. O'Neill, Mr. Peterson, Mr. Boyd, especially officers and crew of Guardian, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome to this special day, that of the commissioning of the United States ship Guardian. Normally the commissioning of this ship would have occurred in Sturgeon Bay. However, due to the rightful concern over the rapid approach of winter, the ice and the closing of the Great Lakes to shipping traffic, the decision was made to bring Guardian to Newport for this event. However, I got to point out at this time that none of us in Sturgeon Bay had anything to do with the Wisconsin weather we're experiencing this morning. The commissioning of any naval vessel is the most exciting and time-honored ceremony. And I'm particularly pleased today as Guardian is the second mine countermeasure ship, or MCM, to be completed by Peterson Builders. Additionally, it's the third MCM to be delivered to our naval fleet by my command this year as part of a multi-ship MCM vessel construction program. Peterson Builders prides itself in building quality ships, and Guardian truly reflects that high standard of excellence. It's hard to believe, as you look at Guardian over my shoulder, that she is constructed of virtually all non-magnetic materials, with the bulk being white oak, Douglas fir, cedar, glass-reinforced plastic, and aluminum. Commissioning of Guardian today capped several years of that effort and countless man-hours of work. She was built with pride. I therefore would like to thank Mr. Peterson and all the Peterson builder craftsmen, the Naval Sea Systems Command, my own staff, and of course Ship's Force for their dedicated efforts in building Guardian. She's a quality ship and a most welcome asset to our fleet. When Guardian is commissioned shortly, she will receive an indelible footprint from her captain, Lieutenant Commander George Smith, and her plank-owner crew. Guardian's unique character for years to come will reflect each of these distinct and dedicated individuals. Captain Smith is a true professional and will be an exceptional commanding officer on an exceptional ship. Therefore, as Guardian begins the lifelong mission for which she was constructed, all of us at Soup Ship Sturgeon Bay wish her well on this, her special day. Ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome to the commissioning of Guardian.
Mr. Ellsworth Peterson, President, Peterson Builders Incorporated.
I realize this is a Navy Day. I'm very proud to be here today representing the Peterson Builders crew that put together this quality ship, the Guardian. I think we're all aware that the spectacular side launching on June 20th, 1987 was her first venture towards the water. And today we have Mrs. O'Neill again with us, who is going to be part of the commissioning ceremony. And I think it's important that we recognize that this ship is a true guardian of the seas. Thank you.
Captain John F. Brunelli, Commander, Naval Surface Group 4.
Congressman Makeley, Admiral Kurth, Admiral Hines, Admiral Lockhart, Mrs. O'Neill, distinguished guests, families, friends, officers, and crew of Guardian. There was a wonderful dinner last night at the Naval War College Museum for the sponsor and some of us lucky enough to be there. And that evening concluded when several of the officers of Guardian were overheard to sing that wonderful Irving Berlin song, "I'm Dreaming of a White Commissioning." I've been pressed into service here at the 11th hour to stand in for my boss, Vice Admiral Donnell, who is stranded in Norfolk with aircraft engine difficulties. I would ask all of you to assist me in this substitution by trying to imagine me a foot taller than I really am. I am delighted, of course, to welcome Guardian to her first naval home. This icy air cannot temper the warmth and enthusiasm with which we at Naval Surface Group 4 have awaited this day. The first frozen snap of your commissioning pennant at its breaking ushers in not only Guardian's era of service, it also signals the birth of a new generation of the Navy in Newport. Another new generation of ship, the Aegis cruiser Normandy, was commissioned at this birth just last Saturday. As important as that occasion was, I like to think that that was no more than a dress rehearsal for today. Actually, a warm-up for today. But to use the term warm-up on a day like today seems wholly inappropriate. Guardian is the latest and the greatest. She will be a front-line ship for decades to come. A sophisticated, rugged, safe ship with a tough job to do. Her arrival in Newport is all the more noteworthy as she returns the number of Newport-based ships to 12. And she may be the last new ship scheduled to be home-ported here until at least the mid-1990s, when another of her class joins Naval Surface Group 4. Commander Smith and men of Guardian, the time of the forerunner of freedom is at hand. I welcome you to Naval Surface Group 4, certain in the knowledge that Guardian will always be seen in front, leading the Navy into the 21st century and protecting our nation's harbors and coastlines for generations to come. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rear Admiral Dean H. Hines, Deputy Commander, Industrial and Facility Management, Naval Sea Systems Command.
Distinguished guests, crew of Guardian, ladies and gentlemen, if I appear to be shaking, don't think I'm shivering, I'm just very nervous. On behalf of Vice Admiral Heckman and the entire Naval Sea Systems Command, I'd like to welcome you to the commissioning of the Guardian. She's the latest addition to your Navy's mine countermeasures fleet. The acceptance of Guardian to the operating forces is very significant in that it starts a long career of service to this country. This ceremony marks the culmination of efforts of hundreds of firms throughout the country and thousands of individuals who participated in constructing this ship. It was a private industry and a public sector venture that exemplifies the cooperative spirit so important to building and maintaining our fleet today. I'd like to express our appreciation to those who designed the ship, to the engineers and superb craftsmen at Peterson Builders Incorporated who built her, and to the military and civilian personnel at the Supervisor of Shipbuilding Office in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, who have overseen the construction. I'd like to express my appreciation to the Guardian's captain, Lieutenant Commander Smith, and his crew for their dedicated efforts and skills in this process. Captain, to you and your fine crew, congratulations and best wishes for the future of all of us at NAVC. I'm confident that Guardian's in capable hands.
Ladies and gentlemen, our principal speaker is the Honorable Ronald K. Makeley, representative of the 1st Congressional District of Rhode Island. Representative Makeley, a native of Johnstown, Pennsylvania, graduated from the Naval Academy in 1970. Was elected to Congress in 1988, representing the 1st Congressional District. He is the first Rhode Islander in history of the state to be selected to the House Armed Services Committee. He also serves on the Select Committees on Children, Youth, and Families, and the Small Business Committee. A graduate of Boston Suffolk University of Law School, Congressman Makeley is a member of the Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Florida, and American Bar Associations. He is an honorary member of the Newport Rotary Club and a member of the Newport Historical Society, Newport Preservation Society, and a life member of the United States Naval Academy Alumni Association. From 1970 to 75, Congressman Makeley served in the United States Navy aboard destroyers. He currently serves as a commander in the U.S. Naval Reserve. From 1978 to 85, he practiced law in Newport. Congressman Makeley is married to the former Katie Croft of Johnstown, Pennsylvania. The Makeleys live in Portsmouth, Rhode Island with their children Aaron and Todd. The Honorable Ronald K. Makeley. Admiral Kurtz, Admiral Hines, Rear Admiral Select Lockhart, Commodore Verdelli, Mrs. O'Neill, Mr. Peterson, Lieutenant Commander Smith, soon to be officially Captain Smith, distinguished guests, crew members of the Guardians. It's a great honor and personal privilege for me to be here, and it really fulfills the prediction. When I was a young midshipman, I said to a crusty old commander one day that I would love to commission a new ship, and he predicted that it would be a cold day when that happened. Well, here it is. It's a cold day, and I'm honored to be here. In March of 1946, less than a year after the end of World War II, Sir Winston Churchill, in a small town in Missouri, said something very profound. He said, "A shadow has fallen upon the scene so lately lighted by the Allied victory. From Stettin on the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an iron curtain has descended across the continent." 43 years later, today that iron curtain is being torn down by the courageous people around this world. Today there is an outbreak of freedom, and with that freedom, the best hope of enduring peace in our lifetime. Just 2 weeks from today, on the beginning of a new decade, we have hope for peace, hope for freedom, hope for democracy, and that's certainly cause for celebration. And today, in the commissioning of this ship, we're also celebrating peace and freedom, because with the awesome capability of our United States Navy, we have earned that peace and freedom. Without the United States Navy and our armed services, the forces of tyranny would not have had to face the reality and the failures of their economies. They would not have tolerated the outbreak of peace and freedom in their Stalinist allied countries. They would not have appreciated the beauty of peace until they understood the futility of war. They would have continued to build not a society, but an arsenal. And to those who are in Europe, I say, we shall continue to ensure peace with ships such as this and with men who man these ships. Much has been said in local newspapers and editorials and on TV about the peace dividend that we're going to receive from this new peace. But let us also realize that peace itself is that dividend that we receive from our armed services.
As a minesweep, the Guardian helps preserve that peace, whether at work in protecting our shores or out in some strategic strait, ensuring that they are free for transport. Even though helicopters have been involved in minesweeping, there is a role for this ship. Whether commissioned in 1889 or 1989, a ship represents a unique machinery inhabited by its crew. And I also remember vividly a crusty old Navy captain telling me he yearned for wooden ships and iron men. He need yearn no longer. Today we not only have a wooden ship with the most technical, up-to-date capabilities, but we have not only iron men, but iron men with technical skills and the best education ever. And if you know these men and women who serve in our armed services, you know the greatness of our armed services. They are really our hope for the future, our hope for peace. And as a Navy man, let me say to Captain Smith and his crew, I wish his ship and its crew fair winds and following seas, and a distinguished career. May she always sail proudly, and may we always be proud of her success. God bless his crew and ship, and God bless America. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Commodore John F. Brunelli, Commander, Naval Surface Group 4, will now read the commissioning directive to place Guardian in commission.
In accordance with Chief of Naval Operations Message, Date Time Group 22-22-53, Zulu, November 1989, when Guardian MCM-5 is in all respects ready on or about 16 December 1989, place the ship in commission and direct the commanding officer to report to Commander Naval Surface Force, U.S. Atlantic Fleet, for operational control. In accordance with this authority, I place the United States ship Guardian in commission.
Please rise. Ship's company, attention. Color guard, parade the colors. Color guard, retire the colors. guests please be seated? Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Commander George J. Smith, Jr., Commanding Officer, United States Ship Guardian.
I shall now read my orders. From the Chief of Naval Personnel, subject, Buford's Order 1268, change duty orders. When directed by reporting senior, detach and proceed to Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin for duty as prospective commanding officer, Guardian, MCM-5. Upon commissioning, report to immediate superior in command for duty. Commodore Brunelli, I accept command of United States Ship Guardian. Executive Officer, set the watch.
Aye, aye, Captain. Boatswain, pipe the watch. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Elizabeth O'Neill, the ship's sponsor, is presenting the officer of the deck, the long glass, the traditional symbol of authority of the officer of the deck.
Very well.
Captain, the watch is set.
Very well. Have the crew man the ship at the rail.
Aye, aye, Captain. Officer of the deck, have the boatswain pipe the crew to quarters. ship is manned.
Very well. Have the Guardian come alive.
Aye, aye, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present the officers and crew of the United States ship Guardian.
Ship's company, hand, salute. Ready, two.
Commodore Brunelli, United States ship Guardian reports for duty, sir.
Ship's company, parade, red. Lieutenant Commander George J. Smith, Jr., Commanding Officer, United States Ship Guardian.
Mr. Makeley, Admiral Kirk, Rear Admiral Hines, Admiral Select Lockhart, Commodore Brunelli, distinguished guests, family and friends, thank you for joining us this morning. We are ready to enter the fleet, and we are especially grateful to celebrate this historic day here in our home port, Newport, Rhode Island. Before you stands a warship, built with pride by Wisconsin craftsmen, hewed from timbers of cedar, spruce, and oak, covered with fiberglass and packed with the latest technology. USS Guardian is the most advanced, most capable minesweeper at sea, and today she joins America's powerful armada. The Guardian is a warship, but it is not the sophistication of her equipment nor the strength of her hull that makes her a formidable man of war. She is a warship because of her proud and professional crew. Each man is an expert in a necessary skill. They are all hard-working, decent men, and they have answered the call to serve their nation. Many have been trained for over a year. All are high school graduates, and on average are less than 21 years of age. They are some of the finest young men in America today. I'm extremely proud to be their captain. On a personal note, I'd like to thank Mrs. O'Neill for joining us today. Mrs. O'Neill, you're a lady of dignity and strength. And I certainly hope it is those characteristics that will be the hallmark of Guardian as she sails in defense of our nation into the 21st century. Finally, I'd like to thank our family and friends. You've been very supportive with the long hours and the separations, and we thank you for your presence today. Thank you.
Will the guests please rise for the benediction? Ship's company, attention. This concludes the commissioning ceremony of USS Guardian. We would like to extend our appreciation to Navy Band Newport, to the United States Marine Corps Color Guard, Field Point, Rhode Island, and the officers and crew of USS Alwyn, FF 1081, for their participation in today's ceremonies. Guests of the officers and crew of Guardian will be cordially invited aboard for a tour. Visiting for the general public will follow immediately. Those desiring a tour are asked to board via the forward brow.